Hello, I'm Will Morey, Managing Director, Gamma Business, looking after the channel. Really excited to be here today with Alan Shraga from Fidelity. Alan?
Morning, my name's Alan Shraga. I'm the MD at the Fidelity Group. We've been a Gamma partner now for 13 years.
Well, it's fantastic to have you here today and thank you. It's really a continuation of a conversation rather than a new conversation. Well, it's probably a continuation of a conversation with a couple of microphones inserted between us rather than where we usually chat. But we've been speaking over the last, few months really about the Gamma portfolio, some of the challenges that are presented as we bring new products into that portfolio, how we position them, and how more than anything, we make sure that you can retain the value and retain the impact of the proposition that Horizon provides alongside some of the things that have been introduced alongside it. The culmination of that was really you stepping up onto the stage, literally at Gammaverse, to host the Q&A session with our team. And I think a really strong theme I took away from that was the challenge around Horizon. How do we perceive Horizon? What's its roadmap? What's its future? And how can you be reassured that you want to continue investing in your business? Bit of a wordy and long setup, but is that...
Yeah, look, I think we're all investors. I think that's the starting point for the channel. We're investors in our customers and in their technology stack. It's really important in the current climate that they, first of all, they don't want change. Yeah. They want enhancement and features that makes their businesses more successful.
Yeah.
So part of our conversation over the last sort of 100 days, including the Gammaverse questions, is about, with confidence, we need to go out to our customer base and show them that there is no reason for them to question the decision of the Horizon platform. And so that feature set is what we're here today to talk about, strengthen that, understand the Webex overlay and the strength of Webex and where that enhances our customer base today. So I think, you gave some key dates, which would be great for our customers and for our channel partners in terms of Horizon. Yeah. And I think that really is what we're trying to set out clearly for our customers, is the Horizon platform is here to stay.
Absolutely.
It is being developed, because that's a big question.
Yeah.
It is still one of the most secure platforms out there. It's sizable, it's scalable, and it's on your network, which is great.
I mean, there are lots of things we can unpack over the course of the conversation. But you're right. When I think about cloud, and my background was coming from PBX world, and when I think about cloud, I think the customer is choosing to partner with someone for the long term, and the reason they're paying a subscription is because of the ongoing growth, the development, the support, the compliance wrap, all of those things. That's what they're paying for, and they're buying into that with a partner. And I think that's really, really important, and that's why it's I think incumbent on me today to talk about the future of Horizon, our commitment to it, but also how that extends into Webex and what Cisco have got as a roadmap for the product and its kind of long-term extension and link into Webex for Gamma as well.
I think the security is probably one of the biggest areas of concern at the moment for clients in the current environment. So for us, we still see that as the number one selling point in the size and scale of Gamma in terms of how many units are deployed into the field.
You're exactly right. And on a podcast, I think we're going to probably get drummed out of this whole podcast thing because we haven't used the word AI or the phrase AI 15 times in the first 25 seconds like we should have done. But actually talking about security, compliance, resilience, all of these things, which we just take as the table stakes, the standard when we look at products like Horizon, are really important to customers and more so than ever. Mm-hmm. And I think with the proliferation of companies that have tried to get into this space, and some of them perhaps with maybe not the backing and the funding that they need to have deliver that long-term roadmap and success and resilience, we've got to make sure that the customer understands that is part of the conversation, because without that, you can sell them as much sizzle as you like and you can say AI 57 million times. if it isn't resilient, it isn't reliable, it isn't compliant, and looking at things like Telecom Security Act and some of the other kind of compliance challenges are coming through, it's a huge, it's a huge challenge. And you touched on the story of the nursery earlier, which I thought was fantastic.
Well, look, I think customers are generally under attack by fraudsters who are trying to gain information not for the customer's benefit, in whatever that format may be, payment details, staff details. And so clients are very concerned now because it's almost in the press every day, from Land Rover being hacked to Marks and Spencer's to, even Salesforce, for instance. Right? So it's out there. And
well, Colt is a perfect example in our own industry, isn't it? Where they're, absolutely.
So I think the regular security updates that are done on behalf of our customers, we don't communicate that as a community. And the investment that you're making in that and the 24-hour NOC service and the fact that you've got people managing the network.
And the power and strength of the Gamma network inherently as part of that kind of security proposition.
So returning to the conversation on security then, these overnight updates and checking in, obviously, with the handset and updating that software, that is obviously a massive commitment.
Absolutely. The team and the support and the infrastructure it takes to deliver that is not insignificant. And I, as you know, come from a background of separately running my own infrastructure in a previous company, which Pragma and IPEX. Our ability to match that scale was really challenged. And now being part of Gamma, my understanding of the capability they can bring in terms of the people, the insight, the complete end-to-end network story is transformational really in the way you can support it. So if I look at IPEX, we're been pulling that into the infrastructure that Gamma has, and it just transforms our ability to deliver that in a kind of scalable and reliable way. Now, Horizon has had that forever, and it's growing, and the investment is compounding every single day as we make sure that every aspect of it, from the handset right the way through the network, is supported with that 24/7 NOC and that kind of capability we have as an organization. So
if we look at the economy, right? So stats out in the last few hours, the UK economy grew by 1.1% last month. So we're in a very, very tight market. So bring your own device is at the top of most people's agendas if they're going to make a change. So if they're on a platform and they want to come and join the Gammaverse, environment and be collaborative in terms of moving. What's your opinion on that? And how easy is it for people to access bringing over 1,000 extensions from another network?
It's a really key area of investment for us in Horizon. So it's one of the first things that we can touch on that's an absolute rock solid example of investment and future roadmap. What we're finding is typically the conversation with people who've come from another platform, or maybe even a partner's got a base of customers on another platform. The conversation often starts with reliability and resilience, just as we touched on. They've had negative experiences either in trusting their customer base to another supplier and they've seen outages and problems, or perhaps that customer has been more directly affected by it. So the first thing we wanted to do is make sure we could offer them a proposition that's all about that resilience and reliability. So we've invested in Horizon to enable us to add multiple devices on very, very easily. So whereas it used to take us months to be able to add a new device type, now we can do it in a matter of days. And so we can work with a partner, just like we're doing on lots of opportunities where we say, okay, you want to move that customer, or you want to move that base, or whatever it might be. We can identify the device, make sure we can bring that into the Horizon environment, bring it in such a way that it is secure, reliable and resilient, because we want to do our checks. We're not going to bring in unchecked devices. And then we can add that and enable you to give that customer you're bringing over the absolute reliability and resilience that they're looking for and the confidence they're looking for. So we call it the safe harbor strategy, because we see lots of partners out there who want a safe harbor for their users, where they've got maybe legacy UCaaS platforms that maybe don't have the resilience, don't have the reliability, perhaps even don't have the compliance levels that they need, and they can bring that into that Horizon safe harbor.
Okay. We talked about AI. Well, we mentioned...
Yeah, we're back on track now.
So we're back. Yeah, let's the buzzword while it lasts.
Yeah.
That's coming to Horizon in November.
So we've got the launch of the new AI Concierge product. We're all really excited about it. And it sits as part of a broader framework for Gamma. We call it Gamma Plus. And it's about finding the products that we think help you differentiate in the market and solve a really tangible customer problem. So AI Concierge is a really good example of that. And that absolutely comes onto Horizon in November. And that will add the capability for, if I explain it in simple terms, if you imagine you dial into a customer, perhaps you have the option of queuing or waiting, and you might then want to say, okay, if you press 3, speak to our AI concierge or our AI assistant, and through that you can book an appointment into a diary. You can ask basic questions about the business, opening hours, do you take credit cards? Yeah, all of those sort of basic questions that actually make up a lot of what the incoming telephony traffic can be. But I think the key, and where I'm really excited about AI Concierge, I think a lot of businesses have historically seen incoming voice calls a bit of a pain. Actually, it's annoying. It's an irritation because you've got to take an incoming voice call from a customer. You've got to put a human being in the middle, and then you've got to translate the customer requirement into data entry because you're entering an appointment, you're booking something, you're imparting human information into a system. What AI can do is make that whole journey for the customer much easier. So you can start to see how in things like GP surgeries, where you're booking, you've got that crunch of calls coming in at 9 a.m. Suddenly, that resource to enable that booking to be bought is almost limitless in terms of scale, because AI has no scale to it. Suddenly you could take, if you wanted to, 1,000 calls at the same time and make all of those bookings, and as the diary filled up, it will just push it out.
So with that, I'm quite interested that you've chosen a per minute charge, especially in the current climate.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult for a client who hasn't had the AI journey to understand what that might cost them.
Yeah.
Do you think as you roll that out, there's an opportunity to bring out an unlimited service? Because, I think clients will be very nervous in the current climate. It's great that it's a per minute service.
Yeah.
But ultimately, people need to be able to budget effectively in the market that we're trading in today.
No, and it's an early stage technology. We're introducing it next month. So, yeah, very quickly, because, again, one of the greatest things about Gamma is our scale as an organization. Mm-hmm. So a good example of that is we've recently introduced unlimited minutes. You buy our UCaaS product, you don't get billed for per minute. We don't look at it that way. Whether you're calling a local number or whether you're calling an international mobile or an international number, all of those calls are inclusive. And the only way we can achieve that is through the scale we've got and the power of our network. And I think we'll very quickly as an organization be able to start thinking about how we can use AI in a similar way. So to start off with, we wanted to limit the barrier to entry. So we wanted to make sure that the product can go out and people are able to experiment with it, to try it, to understand it, to see how it plays a role in their business, because different demographic profiles perhaps will engage with AI more or less according to their needs. So low barrier to entry, just a pence per minute charge, and we believe that's a good way of getting the product into the market. But very rapidly, I agree with you, and we're already thinking about it. How can we make this so it can be more budgeted? How can we make more kind of inclusive? How can we kind of repackage that?
Yeah, I think alongside Copilot, you look at that upgrade, it's a cost per user.
Yeah.
So you get X number free in terms of their translation service, and then you can buy an unlimited package. So that's really good news, because it does give the existing Horizon users AI, which is really, really good. And obviously that feature where you've said all calls are free, that is another reason when you're bringing someone else's client base onto the Horizon platform.
Absolutely. No, I think it's a killer feature, really, to be able to say, not just for the end user, to be able to differentiate and they can make international traffic, but if you want, you can bring that additional profitability into your P&L. But it also, in the long term, we believe drives simplicity, because we want partners to see selling UCaaS as just the same as selling software as a service, removing some of that kind of complexity and making that journey a little bit easier for partners.
So at the core, underneath the Horizon brand, it's a platform that obviously Cisco are driving investment into. What insight can you give us as to what their commitment is?
Well, it's perfect timing, really. So while we were standing on stage at Gammaverse, and we had Joe Marler, who's the sweariest rugby player in history, based on our experience, but I thought was brilliant. I loved his session, really good.
It was.
While we were doing that, we had some of the team over in, I think, San Diego for WebEx One. Where they had Ryan Reynolds entertaining them and talking about his view of, I think, business engagement and storytelling and bringing all those things together. But some of the really exciting announcements that came of that was Cisco's ongoing commitment to BroadSoft as a platform. And what they're now talking about is a really exciting roadmap. And about 2 or 3 months ago, DP Venkatesh did a blog, so he's the Chief Revenue Officer at Cisco, about their commitment and belief in the BroadSoft platform. They've doubled down on that further. They're making more tools available on that, bringing more CX capability, more AI capability, all of these different things to the BroadSoft platform, and that's what underpins Horizon. So alongside our investments, and I gave the example of the Safe Harbor, we've got lots of other increasing investments around kind of security capability. We're looking at how we can make our portal experience better and number porting and all of these different things. We've also got Cisco coming to the table with their own roadmap that will really start to drive the underlying engine that underpins Horizon. That means it's absolutely got that future. And the particular features that you got feedback on, were you excited by some of their roadmap and when it might land in the Horizon world? I think, I'm still excited by what we could deliver in WebEx, really.
Okay.
And it's about those enhancements. So I think there's huge amounts we need to be getting out from that. We were chatting earlier about, the meetings feature where, and maybe this is just me because I like to get the odd cup of coffee, but while you're chatting, if you step away from your computer, it automatically brings up a little cup of coffee on the screen. I go away, I make my cup of coffee, I come back, and the AI knows I've come back, takes the cup of coffee on the screen, and it gives me a lovely little brief of the stuff that I've missed out on, so I don't look like an idiot and say something, ask a question that was asked while I was away. It's little things like that are really simple AI features.
Humanising the product, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's so many more of them that we see, and there's so much more investment coming down the line as we see the increased kind of CX capability coming from Cisco. But that's where I think we should be getting really fired up about the product. And more than anything, that's what I feel like today is we should be really excited about what Horizon can deliver to the market and what WebEx for Horizon can. And then, of course, as well, what WebEx for Gamma can deliver to the market. Because I think the real power comes from WebEx as the application. So WebEx sits at the front end of this. And that's where huge amounts of power and capability, and I think that's where everybody's competing now, isn't it, on the desktop? You can service that WebEx capability either through Horizon, if you want a more transactional, operational efficiency, scalable experience where you've maybe got a slightly more aggressive price point. And then if you want to deliver that transformational customer experience using the WebEx for Gamma platform, optimizing what it can do through its kind of next-gen cloud capability around AI, you can then deliver a much more transformational customer experience. So one application, 2 platforms, one able to deliver the transactional engagement with all of those great WebEx features and CX features and all of the telephony features we know and love, and one transformational. And I was talking about the difference earlier. WebEx for Gamma, one of the things that sort of knocks it out the park on our demos is where if you're transferring a call, and you do that within the WebEx environment, if we've just had a chat and we were going to transfer a call to the colleague, you've downloaded your customer issue to me or the context of the call. When I transfer the call, the transfer goes over with an AI summary of exactly what's already been said. So as the call lands to the next person, they're already equipped and briefed, and they don't do that really irritating thing that I had last night, funnily enough. So, what's your problem? It's like, I've just told the last person what the problem was. And I think that's a great example of an AI feature that's really practical.
And we were talking about the number of users on the core platform. Because I think that's, that 50 million users, I think we mentioned.
Yeah.
That is massive confidence to the UK user base, that Cisco will continue to invest in it.
Absolutely. And that, DP Venkatesh again brings out loud and clear, because it's really important that we talk about our commitment, but we're dependent on our technology partner, Cisco. And what's great is we've got those blogs out there and those comments, and the fact that it's featuring in WebEx One, their global event. That's where the real, the kind of reassurance and commitment comes from, is knowing how committed Cisco are to those 50 million users and making sure they're keeping them on that platform and enabling them with that journey. When it's the right point, WebEx creates value for them. They might want to take that transformational journey. They might want to use that more transactional capability. Both of them are catered for, and both of them, have WebEx sitting at the heart of it. So 50 million should be a huge source of reassurance. The other number I'd throw out there, with date, in fact, is our contract with Cisco is through until 2031, with options to absolutely renew that and keep that going. So we're committed to the platform at a contractual level, as well as Cisco's commitment to those 50 million users.
Okay. And then the future in terms of handsets, because of course this is a passionate thing for some customers when they make the change. What's the sort of future roadmap for that new handsets that you will automatically be onboarding on behalf of the channel?
So I think going back to that feature I talked about earlier, linked to the safe harbor, we are able to add handsets much more quickly. And so that innovation that's coming through in handsets is really, really key, because we'll do like to talk about the application on the desktop and how powerful that is. But if you look at so many users, it's still about the handset on the desk. And so it's important we continue to innovate. So we'll be bringing through and consistently adding new handsets, new features, new capabilities. So there's Law as the example, where the ability to alert that there's a major issue happening within a kind of large scale or campus environment, or even a small scale environment, now is embedded into the ability of the handset with a red button that you can press, and that sends whatever commands you want and broadcast messaging. I think that's a really good example of a really solid innovation at a very physical level in a handset that can have a real impact.
So you could onboard that into an existing Horizon campus, for instance, and then would that functionality work over old handsets as a feature? I'd need
to check the availability of that handset, when we're going to make that available, and how it'll link back in.
Okay, that is being rolled out. That's a major opportunity. When you're talking about vertical markets, it's exciting to see that Horizon with WebEx can compete now in the NHS and in the doctor's surgeries, because we've seen thousands of seats become available there in the government strategy to improve the routing of inbound calls following the pandemic. Second of all, schools now are probably the most outdated in terms of tech stack.
They stayed on PBX for a long time, didn't they? Probably.
Well, it's simply because there's no money in the system. So there are thousands of users there that are available for resellers to go after. So talking about the reseller community, which we've obviously been part of,
absolutely.
What should resellers do? If there was a wish list of how resellers integrate now underneath yourself as being the new MD, because you've got a completely different vision of how you want to work with resellers, and that came out, with your CTO saying, look, it's an open door, come and talk to us, let's develop things together. Historically, it was all about enablement. Your predecessor was all about bringing on products which enabled features that you didn't have. Whereas now, the thing that impressed me at Gammaverse was let's develop stuff together.
It's co-creation. Exactly. That's where, that's how I've always operated it. It feels a very natural way of operating in a channel environment, because we were talking earlier about customer conversations you had yesterday. And that's a pretty regular occurrence in what you do. You're constantly talking to the customer. You're getting challenged by the customer. You're understanding where their business is at. I don't get the privilege of doing that. I speak to you and I speak to lots of other partners regularly. But to co-create, we've got to have a really strong understanding of the market. And I think getting to co-create products with you, getting to listen to what you're seeing in the market is critical to our growth. So we've embedded a program we call Partner Experience into Gamma. And that now means that all of our leadership team, from Andrew Belshaw right the way through our business, are ringing our customers, and we have a structured conversation. and that structured conversation is transcribed within our calling environment. Then when that transcription gets uploaded into an AI platform, you see we're nailing the AI stuff now.
Four times.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, yeah. Watch out, Stephen Bartley. We've got this. So now that goes into our AI platform, Snowflake, it then enables us to understand all of those conversations at scale. It enables us then to get that feedback and turn it into how we can kind of build our roadmap and keep growing. We do that as an SLT and a kind of management team. It also happens within our Gamma Labs environment where they're reaching out to the technical teams and they're having this constant conversation about what do you need, how can we work? So we're trying to make sure that not just the conversations are happening, because I think they've always sort of happened about what do you need, could I have this feature, could I have that feature?
Yeah.
But it's the bit that links it with being able to act on that.
So you think the sort of priority route for large Horizon users, such as ourselves and other people, they should go through that process in terms of some of the things where we feel Horizon urgently needs enhancements to be competitive with customers' current demands. So that last mile relationship that resellers have, you would suggest that they go through that route to expedite.
Yeah, it's Lucy, because we are constantly talking to Lucy and she has a strong voice that who looks after you and your business. She has a strong voice back into our organization. We also then make the effort to make sure we're using this PX program. Yeah. We then also have the Gamma Labs program to draw data in that way. And then you'll see that we're having more events where we're trying to table those conversations, and then we're trying to prioritize our investment. But I think, as you said, Colin Lees, our CTO, and Joe Shuttleworth, who drives all of the kind of the development around our products and our platforms, they have a very much open door policy. Their whole thinking is about how they can work with you to create the technology that enables you to win in the market. Because it's not just about Cisco, it's about how we can wrap value around Cisco, around Ericsson, around our own IP with PhoneLine Plus, around Operator Connect. Yeah. To differentiate that and make it valuable, we've got to wrap it up and make it a really powerful, exciting story for you.
So Joe was talking at Gammaverse about, there are some really exciting things coming out in the next 12 months. She feels that she's going to be able to add some incredible value. Obviously, AI coming in November.
Yeah.
Are you able to give us any other insights that what might come out next year?
Yeah, I think that whole Gamma Plus framework is really exciting, of which the first product is the AI product. Mm-hmm. We've then got lots of the other products coming through with the PCI capability we're looking at, with Red Cactus for integration. We've got all of these sort of these add-ons that on their own might appear quite small, but I think that's where you can then tailor solutions for your customers far more effectively, because it's not just vanilla. It's the ability to add on those sprinkles over the top of the things that I think is where resellers add huge value, which is around tailoring a solution for customers, because you listen, you understand, and you say, okay, what you need in your business as a unique business are these three things on top of that core telephony platform. And so those Gamma Plus products that are coming through, I think are really exciting, along with the CX capability we're bringing in with the new Cisco Webex CX story. I think is really exciting, and I can't wait to get that out into the channel. And then I think just the way AI is coming in as this sort of foundational layer that underpins everything is going to be really exciting, because I worry sometimes that we get a bit kind of hung up on the term AI. Mm-hmm. It's a bit like saying code. We've got this great code product. Well, it's all bloody code, isn't it? It all sits underneath. Yeah. And that's what AI is. It just infuses everything.
It's our job to be clear to the customer base, the Horizon customer base, that these are the future features that are coming. So clients have made an investment. Yeah. Some of them have been on the platform for 10 years. Yeah. Right. So, and it's withstood time. Yeah. It's still one of the strongest products out there. It's still the sizable product in the UK market in terms of the most number of users. I think our biggest challenge is to just communicate effectively what is coming so that we can tantalize customers and get their feedback and feed that back into your teams. I think the initial AI is going to be exciting to see how customers take that in vertical markets. Yes. I think if we look at the challenges that customers are having in terms of re-engaging users. And I think there's some work to be done there and enhancements in terms of, if you are a hybrid worker now, it's not acceptable to be receiving calls outside of working hours. So there is this retraining of some of the core features that Horizon has that people have forgotten about in terms of work-life balance, routing, you taking a call when you want to be taking calls and not receiving them outside.
And in our industry, we're constantly talking about the new features that are added all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, in most, I don't know what you reckon, but in most customer deployments, what are we looking at? 30% of 40% maybe of all of the feature set that's available gets deployed into the customer, and probably even less than that gets used sometimes.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's just this hybrid. You see that people are being asked to return to the office 3 days a week, and they're finding that change really difficult. Because they've got used to not working and commuting. So having the function of the new WebEx, the noise cancelling feature of that, you can take a call, as I did this morning at Paddington, and no one is aware that you're on the move and you're working. So I think that is a massive benefit of the product.
Absolutely, because it is. Even if you think about the changing office environment, whereas before everybody maybe would have had a sort of less populated office, now we've all scaled our office space back because we were all fed up with having 20 empty desks in the office. So actually it is buzzier, it's louder, it's all of those things. So having those kind of features on WebEx is really critical. But I agree with your point. Reminding customers and refreshing customers' thinking about how they can utilize the technology they've already got, rather than leaping straight to, here's the latest AI sizzle, is also, I think we need to balance that.
So we did talk about that earlier. How do we re-engage customers with the fantastic product that they have? Some of them, as I said, have had it for 10 years, and they were trained that length of time ago. And we talked about, well, what would be the best way? You said, would people attend a webinar? I suggested that content that Gamma could produce talked people through the feature set of Horizon and reminded people of the strengths of that.
And I love that idea as to how we can get that out. And I think now it is all about video, isn't it? And content consumed in that way. But just those little snippets of video just to hook people into a feature and help them learn how they could quickly deploy it into their business. Because again, that's the part of the promise of cloud, isn't it? Because historically, if you had a PBX, you were relatively fixed into a narrow feature set. What we came out and said is, look at this sudden availability of huge amounts of analytics. So that enabled you to spot problems maybe on your customer journey or how you're using your telephony platform. What we also then gave was a portal that enabled rapid deployment of new features and changing the way the customer journey works in that calling environment is now enabled. So, someone then sees a feature, they can quickly work with you, and you can have that deployed in their portal, in their environment almost instantly. And I think that is a game changer really. And we've just got to remember to hook those customers with those features and have that constant conversation.
Handset management. Obviously, we're coming to a time now where some of the handsets that were initially provided to clients are coming to end of life.
Yes.
Give us your thoughts on that, because obviously when a handset is no longer supported by a manufacturer, that is a security risk.
Absolutely.
How do you feel that communication is going, and the challenge for customers, again, in a very flat market, to understand, well, there's so many versions. You look over the last 10 years, some of the handsets from Polycom had a lifetime warranty given on them, as long as the product was supported. So do you feel the communication's strong enough?
No, I don't. I think it's a really good example of one of the other areas we're investing in at the moment. I'm a passionate believer in the power of data and the power of insights and actionable insights. And so one of the things we're working on, again, linked to that Snowflake platform, is to think about what are the things that would be really useful for our partners to know and to understand. So if we know all of those handsets attached to the platform, we know the end of life dates, we know all of the data around them, and we can identify that easily. So what we're working on is to be able to have all of that data ingested into our AI platform. So over time, we can then share with you and say, by the way, are you aware that within your customer base, these handsets are now end of life? And by the way, 27% of them sit in the legal sector, because we know all of your vertical markets. We'd recommend you prioritize changing those. 14% are in healthcare. We'd recommend you prioritize changing those because they're compliant environments where it's important. And I think our role as a partner needs to develop and change into that space, so we're able to provide you with really strong, actionable insights and dashboards of information so you can make decisions that will help your customers, help drive your profitability, and help your sales team spot and understand opportunity.
So when should we be getting excited about seeing these insights then? Because that is a challenge right now. Right.
As of last week, so I was 2 days after the after Gammaverse, I was at the we call it the GBSM, and the Gamma Business Sales Meeting, where we bring all of our sales teams together. And one of the things that was in that is talking about our insight strategy. And we have a new thing as part of the Gamma Edge program, which is all about giving you insights on your business. So that is now available. All of the BDMs in the Gamma team have been trained on it. And we can look at your customer base with us by product, and we can go through and we can have really clear conversations about your growth, obviously, and all of those different areas, but also a complete analysis of all of the vertical markets. We can tell you whether you're overrepresented or underrepresented in different verticals. We can actually do benchmark comparison with other platinum partners or gold partners or whatever to tell you how your growth rates or penetration of next generation products is performing versus your peers. We can also start to tell you exactly when your customers are most likely to churn, because we can see that from all of our historic data. And then we can present to you all of the customers that we perceive are at risk. We can also start to tell you how that compares to other people in your kind of benchmark community as well. So there's huge amounts of data already available. We're going to be sharing that as part of the Edge conversations we're having. The best bit about the conversation, though, is once we get that data in front of you, and I know you'll do this, is you'll go, that's really useful, but what about? And that's where the conversation gets going, because then we keep enhancing those insights, keep enhancing the information, and we deliver things that make a really positive impact.
Yeah, and I think it's important to the sales consultants. They've been selling the product for 10 years. That's their livelihood.
Yeah.
And that's what stimulated the conversation pre-Gammaverse.
Yeah.
Was there was some real concerns from sales forces that what is the future of this product?
Yeah.
Because the market's got tighter, it's got harder. More people have come to the party with bigger stories. But actually, those sales consultants from today's conversation that we're having should feel really confident.
Absolutely.
That selling a Gamma solution still is sustainable for them in terms of investing their time
100%
to make that reward still achievable.
And that is what the whole Edge program was all about.
Right.
Yeah. At the heart of it was firstly listening, because I think that's, I've spent quite a bit of time in the channel and in channel management nearly all of my career. And if you don't listen, in my opinion, you're not going to get anywhere, because so many of the answers are in the conversations that we have about how you're looking to grow your business. So Edge is built on a desire to understand where you're trying to get to as a business, then work out how we can play a meaningful role in that journey. And then we can apply things like our velocity program that rewards growth and recognizes growth and puts money back in your pocket. How can we give you boosts? Because we recognize it's a tough market and you need things that give you that little bit of edge on the competition. And a perfect example of that is obviously the inclusive minutes, and the fact that every minute is included. We've got offers on connectivity and lots of other areas that help you have those boosts as well. And they combine putting money directly into your business and putting things on the table that help you win and retain customers. Then we've got this insights piece where we can start to work with you to say, well, let's be a bit more sniper and a bit less shotgun. And let's give you the data to make insightful decisions about how you can work with us and how you can grow your business. Because Gamma I'm a great believer of play to your strengths. There's nobody stronger in terms of understanding all of those data points through our network breadth and capability, the huge number of channel partners we've got, the huge number of UCaaS seats we've got. That data set is rich with insight that can add real value.
And I think now Gamma's listed on the main market.
Absolutely.
That has brought a lot of confidence for some of our customers that there will be investment in the product.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we started out on this journey, you and I, just
Absolutely.
over 100 days ago.
Yeah,
To say, let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
So we've got this mass of users today.
Yeah.
How do we enhance those users' experience?
Yeah.
What products are coming? When are they arriving? And give the sales teams out there a real opportunity in a flat market to go back to existing customers. To be quite honest, everyone is trying to drive the price down. We've seen that in the connectivity market. And it's no different I believe, in the hosted seat market. So some of these new features will, I believe, if they're delivered timely, that's the bit that is always a concern. So that 12-month commitment that Joe made, I look forward to revisiting that question in 11 months' time to say, okay, what did we actually deliver out on the Horizon platform? Alongside the Webex story, I think we've got quite a powerful product that should enable sales teams to be sustainable in this flat market that we're trading in.
We've got the stuff we talked about early on in the conversation. We've got the resilience, the reliability, the compliance, the absolutely, it's a solid platform that sits underneath this. But we've also got the sizzle with all of the WebEx capability and the increasing CX capability. And if you want to take that customer on a longer term journey to the transformation of their business using AI as well and WebEx per Gamma. So I think right the way through, we've got the portfolio and with the support of Cisco, the proposition that means we can win in the market together.
Yeah, from our point of view, it'd be great if we could get this digitalized so that customers can go on that journey with us sending them a digital message that says, you've got an amazing platform. It's still the strongest platform that is available in the UK in terms of numbers of users, the security. So it would be great if you can work with your digital marketing teams to provide that.
Definitely. And we, one of the key things I'm going to take away as an immediate action from this conversation is that exploring the features within what we've got and making it easier for customers to engage with that, I think is a really, really critical takeaway, along with increased commitment, as you've just said there. So as we look at resilience and redundancy, we've got 4 data centers spread across the UK. We've got huge investment, not only in the underlying infrastructure and the technology around the SBCs, but also then backing off into Cisco with the kind of capability that they bring. So they've got things like 1,000 Eyes and the huge investments that they see around AI security tools and how that can help support our proposition as well. But what actually makes a difference to a lot of this stuff is the people and the stuff that happens, as you referenced, every single day, the processes that have gone through, the checks that have gone through, the understanding and the support of all of those little things that happen over a 24-hour period to make sure that the platform is absolutely rock solid and it's absolutely there for when our customers need it. And yes, customers are talking about how can I shave a little bit of money off and move over here to this product. But they'll do that up until the point that they realize, what does it feel like to be without telephony? Even worse, what does it feel like to be without telephony and without an answer as to when it's going to be back on?
Yeah.
And that's where we come into our own. And I genuinely mean we, because that's the point that a partnership is absolutely most important. And I'd bring the customer into that as well, because it's when times are tough and things go wrong that the importance of conversation, the importance of having that partnership is more important.
It would be great to get a sense of this scale.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's at the moment, the resellers, including ourselves, we don't really understand the size of that scale and the support that you're giving us.
Yeah.
We feel protected because historically the product has done an amazing job. Right?
Yeah.
The uptime and the customer experience has been amazing.
Yeah.
But right now, in an economic climate of 1% growth, we as a platinum partner would really like to be able to tell our customers, this is the investment we and our partner, i.e. Gamma and the Horizon team are making to secure your site and to make it sustainable, because I don't think the end user really understands the risk of going for a cheaper platform, understanding how secure that platform is. Will it be compliant? We have seen other platforms that have lost their compliancy and taken days to get it back, and therefore calls have not been able to route internationally because of new legislation.
Absolutely, yeah. In the US, that new legislation coming through that there are platforms out there that we all know that can't route traffic into the US because they're not meeting that regulation. So it is, you're right, not just those security teams sitting underneath this, but also the amount of time and effort we put into working with people like Ofcom and looking at the Telecom Security Act and making sure that, for example, everybody's always said, why can't you do there's something more on international traffic for us? Why can't you make that really easy?
But I do think that's a really good question, though, isn't it? But the channel's not asking that when they're up against a competitor, because we are not trained and informed on it. And maybe
absolutely. And I wasn't until recently. And working as part of Gamma, you suddenly start to understand that, technically we can solve international tomorrow. It's really simple. And we've got the capability more than anybody to do that. But actually, it's about compliance in those different markets, because the level of regulation, as soon as you look into a German market, a French market, a Spanish market, etc., and beyond, and US as per the example you gave, that's a way different form of compliance. And there are people out there that are willing to do that on a wing and a prayer, and they'll go, "I'll be all right, don't worry about it."
But I think we're not going to do that. Client this level of security at no extra cost. So that's the bit that I want to be able to communicate.
What is
you visualize it? So included in that comes this whole security package that we're thinking about their business. We're protecting their business. We're protecting their users. Included in that license fee.
Well, it's an obvious analogy, but the one of the iceberg I think makes complete sense. The bit that's poking out above the water that the customer sees is maybe quite easy to relate to, and that's where the AI and the CX and all of those lovely buzzwords that everybody would throw around and all the sizzle sits. The majority of what we do sits below the waterline, and that's where the majority of the value is for the customer. Being able to make that call, being able to rely on a partner like you to be able to deliver that service consistently, and we've got to make sure the partner knows exactly what sits below the waterline.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.